What's going on, everybody? John Stamper here with ADOM TV, and very excited to be bringing to you another amazing guest and presentation today. So I'm very excited to have with us Christy Bilquist, who's a Director of Operations for Unitas Dental, and she has a very exciting presentation today around PPO participation and all of that. Christy, it's nice to see you. How you doing?
I'm great. Nice to see you too. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. All right, so I really want to get to the point where you can have the floor and do your presentation and talk about some of the great things you're going to talk about today. Just real quick, everybody. So on this podcast today, Christy's going to go over some detailed things, but also understanding how PPO participation really works, learning how to increase your PPO reimbursements, and more importantly, discovering how to monitor and keep your reimbursements in check. And I think she's got like 4 steps that she's going to go through. Obviously, there's a lot of steps involved to this, but she's really boiled it down to 4 really crucial things that you can focus on when it comes to this. And by the end of it, obviously, we hope that you will understand a little bit more about this PPO world, which Christy's going to simplify for you, hopefully. So, Christy, the floor is yours.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and start with my slides to help guide me through it. And we'll just start by talking about a little bit about Unitas. I'm, like you said, Christy Bilquist. I'm the Director of Operations, and I've been here for over 8 years, almost since the beginning of the company. And just a small background on us. We are located in sunny Mesa, Arizona, and we have over 40 people that are working insurance day in and day out. We handle clients in every state and have been doing this for over 8 years. Our owner, Mike Alder, started this company out of interest in his son, who became a dentist in California. And so that's just a little bit of background about Unitas. And so I'm going to talk to you today about 4 steps to a participation audit. And we feel that on a regular basis, offices should be reviewing their PPO participation. And so I'm going to give you 4 steps of how you can do that and make sure that you're not leaving any money on the table just in your basic participation with PPOs. So some questions to ask yourself is, do you have the most current PPO fee schedule in your practice management software for the PPOs that you're in network with? And are your EOBs reflecting the correct contracted reimbursements? Has your participation changed through a leasing networking arrangement that resulted in lower fees? And are any of your office fees lower than what PPOs are willing to pay you? So those are 4 questions that you need to ask yourself that help you walk through this audit. So step number 1 is we recommend at least once a year getting your current fee schedules directly from the insurance companies. And now so many of them have set up a portal. So a lot of the fee schedules are accessible just by logging in, or it's as simple as calling provider relations and saying, can I get my current fee schedule? If they tell you you're not with us, but you'll need to contact Dentamax for your fee schedule, that is an indication that you are not directly contracted with Principal, but you are a network through the Dentamax relationship. So it's a good time to verify your participation as well. So in that example of Principal under Dentamax, if you want your Principal fee schedule and you call them, they're going to tell you call Dentamax, because that's how we're accessing you, is through the Dentamax relationship. And keep in mind that if you have more than one provider and more than one location, people can be participating differently. So don't just ask for one provider or one location. Make sure that you're doing a thorough job of verifying that everyone's on the same Cigna fee schedule, everyone's on the same connection fee schedule, and look for any variations in participation that you might not be aware of. So that's step 1. Step 2 is check what is in your software. So we used to just have offices send us their PPO fee schedules that they had put into their Dentrix or whatever. But we found very often that the information in there was not kept up or not accurate. in comparison to the fee schedules that the insurance companies sent. So we recommend that, again, when you're collecting those current fee schedules, that you're going into your software and comparing them. So this is an example here of a PPO fee schedule that Family Dentistry has put into their Dentrix. And so you're going to want to go in and make sure that what is on the fee schedule is what you have in your practice management software. You're going to look for typos and you're going to look for outdated fees that are in there. And then step 3 is you want to keep an eye on those EOBs. The proof is always in the EOBs. So when those come back, so let's say going back to that principal example, you're getting an EOB back on a principal patient. Every once in a while, you want to check that and make sure that that's matching up to the fees that you have for principal, which is in this case Dentamax. Or if you recently got a fee increase from Cigna, then you're going to want to check those EOBs and make sure that they have actually loaded the new fee schedule and that you're getting paid on the correct fees. So this is for 2 reasons, because insurance companies make mistakes, and also because your participation could shift from one thing to another. So without getting into the weeds on networking and leasing, and hopefully everyone sort of has a basic understanding of that. And the example on our slide here is you may be contracted with Emeritus, but if you pay attention to your EOBs, you might notice on that EOB for a patient, it might say this is processed under your United Concordia fee schedule and drops you down to reimbursements on the United Concordia fee schedule, not the Emeritus fee schedule. And so we're starting to see where a direct contract isn't always trumping any other ways that these PPOs can access you. So you want to watch for bouncing participation and make sure that you're blocking these lower options where they can access you. So that Emeritus example is a good one because, like I said, you might be directly contracted with them, but you might find that they're going to choose to access you through your United Concordia contract. And you don't have to do that. You can send an opt-out letter to United Concordia so that they don't lease you and you move back over to your Emeritus fee schedule. So keeping an eye on your EOBs is really important because, again, that's where the proof is of how they've got your reimbursement set up, both in your fee schedules and how they're accessing you. It will always say, if you're being accessed through a leased arrangement, it'll always say on the EOB, the reimbursements are based on your Dentamax fee schedule or based on your connection fee schedule, however they're accessing you. So that is a good indication too of participation and what fee schedule that you should be referencing. All right, so step 4, our final step in the reimbursement audit is to review your UCRs and office fees. So we highly recommend that you run a 12-month production summary report and identify which codes bring you the most revenue and then focus on those. Obviously, there's dozens and dozens of codes that you could be spending your time on, but everybody's busy. So make sure that you understand what codes are important to you. And as you're going through, just focus on those and make sure that those codes are, you're knowledgeable of the codes that are important to your office and that that's what you're focusing in on. And then you want to compare that what you're getting back from the insurance company to your office fee. And I know it sounds silly, but it happens all the time when we're running reports to compare PPO reimbursement against a UCR. We often find 1 or 2 codes where the UCR is actually lower than what an insurance company is willing to pay. So you don't want to leave any money on the table because you're not asking for what they're willing to pay. So that's an indication that your fee is way too low because they anticipate your fee is going to be higher than what's on the fee schedule in the first place. So at the bare minimum, you want to look for any codes where if you're asking for $75 on a code, your fee schedule from Connection is $80, then you want to make sure that you're changing your UCR to a minimum of 80 so that you get the full amount you're asking for. But ideally, it's quite a bit above that we want your UCRs set above what insurance companies are willing to pay you to show that discount. If you're an office that's only submitting what's on the PPO fee schedule, then you're doing it wrong and you're doing yourself a disservice. You need to always be submitting your UCR, and then that UCR should be probably a good 20% above what your fee schedules are, because again, they're looking at this as where they set the discount. So those are the 4 steps of doing a PPO reimbursement audit. And we know that you as office administrators have a lot going on. So if you're listening to this and thinking, I don't have time for this, especially right now, we're filming this right after getting back from quarantine and everybody's very, very busy. Please know that you have options for outsourcing this with companies such as Unitas. We can determine your participation and collect your current fee schedules and evaluate your production and office fees for you, and a lot more. So when we analyze your UCRs and your production, that's our beginning point to make sure, again, when we're evaluating your reimbursements, we're focusing on the codes that matter most to you. So in the example of this slide, you can see that for this particular office, the pro fee is about 25% of their production. So that's where we're going to really focus in when we're evaluating both participation and then when we negotiate. If it's an insurance company that only considers a few codes in an increase, then we want to make sure that we're really hitting those codes where it's going to increase revenue. So it's really important to understand what those codes are for each particular practice, because obviously they vary. And we find out exactly how you're participating. Almost every consultation we do, we have a frustrated office manager that says, I don't even really know how we're participating. Unfortunately, with leasing and networking, insurance companies have just made it really complicated for people to understand how their doctors are in network. So we're going to make it really simple to understand what you're in network with and how you're in network. So in this slide example, this provider is direct with everything in the blue column, and in the pink, it's showing how this provider is networked. So this particular provider does not have a contract with Principal, but they are in network with Principal under their Emeritus relationship. They're also with United Concordia under their Sun Life relationship. And then we also identify plans that the provider is out of network with, so that we have a really clear picture of how that doctor is participating. That makes it easier for us then to, from there, determine what can we do to increase your revenue on work you're already doing. So in this instance, we would go to Cigna, for example, where there's a direct contract, and try and negotiate the fee schedule that that office is on, since they're on a direct contract with Cigna. Whereas with Principal, what we're going to do is explore whether participating under Emeritus is your best option, or if maybe going direct with Principal is better, or maybe seeing Principal under another PPO that they lease from or network umbrella is going to yield higher reimbursements. And we call that optimization. So it's a two-pronged approach. It's negotiating the contracts that you're already on, and it's also potentially moving around how you're participating where there's an option for a higher reimbursement. So we always give you a report that shows you the return on your investment. And sometimes it's as little as 2 to 3%, and sometimes we've seen in the 20-25% range. It really just depends on how an office comes to us and what there is to give on the insurance company's end. So why outsource to an expert? In addition to helping with all the steps I outlined in the audit and analyzing your participation and fee schedules, we will negotiate on your behalf and explore those optimization opportunities. And we can determine if there are plans that you should add or plans that you should term. And so, we always do a consultation ahead of time to make sure that your particular situation is a fit for us. So that way, when we bring on clients, we know that our service is going to pay for itself just by helping you understand your participation, making sure you're not leaving any money on the table, and that you're getting just an increased revenue on the work that you're already doing. So if you're interested in learning more, you can go to our website. It's pposolutions.com. And it's really easy to just schedule a consultation at a time that works best for you. You can be on the call, you and the doctor can be on the call, whatever is going to be best for your situation. We'll call you at that scheduled time and talk about how you're contracted. Have you done any negotiations yourself? How many providers do you have? That sort of thing, so that we can determine if you're a fit for our services. So again, it's just as easy as going to our website and scheduling that consultation. And we are always happy to help sort out any participation problems and help you increase your PPO revenue through negotiations.
I love it. Well, first of all, I want to give a big thank you to you for that great information, and a big shout out to Henry Schein One, who brought Christy to you today to have some of this great information. And I have one question. I love this topic because I can imagine that with your position, that when you guys start to educate a practice on maybe their fees not being where they are, or all the information that you shared, you get a lot of aha moments, I would imagine, right? They're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that our fees haven't been raised in so many years. Or talk about what that's like in regards to real life reactions you guys get from practices.
Yeah, it's definitely very rewarding, because somebody may be listening to this and saying, I already knew all this. If you did, fantastic. But that's pretty rare that we find that there isn't some aha moments along the way for most practices, because again, you are dealing with so many different things, and it's so complicated that it's almost impossible for any office administrator to really have a handle on it. So we love being able to help through that process, whatever the individual circumstances, because offices come to us in all, situations. And so it is very rewarding to help and develop that relationship with our office administrators and managers to help them, lower the frustration level, number one, but then also help make them more money.
Yeah, I would have to imagine right now as well, Christy, that with so many practices figuring out a way to get moving again, that anything they can pick up in regards to revenue and things like that makes a big difference.
Absolutely. Now is the best time to go in and review your insurance participation. There are some fee schedules that are so low, I don't know how practices are making any money off of those patients. In fact, it's probably costing them money to see those patients. So it's important, while, they love their patients and helping their patients, sometimes you have to look at it more of a business than a charity, and that some of these fees are just too low, below your cost of doing business. And sometimes there's a way to fix that. And other times you really have to evaluate, am I able to afford doing dentistry for free?
Absolutely. Well, Christy, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for taking the time to put together that great resource. I know everybody out there in ADOM Nation will appreciate it, and I'm sure take to heart a lot of the things that you shared. So really appreciate your time today on ADOM TV, and we'll see you soon, hopefully.